most of the fear is irrational. Some of it is understandable, but it's the people like the Matt Walshes of the world in particular that are the true banality of evil, because they're trying to profit off of this. And as I pointed out on a show a number of months ago, he was on Joe Rogan and he asked him, how many trans kids do you think there are in the United States as of today? And he says it's in the millions. And Jamie, his producer, was not going to have it. He was like, all right, you know what? I'm fact checking you on the show. And it turns out it's about 4,000 to 5,000 in the whole country. And you're out here saying that there are millions of kids trying to transition. At that point, I'm just being somewhat fairly logical here. I would think that that should have been the end of Matt Walsh's grift. Of course, it wasn't, and it's only grown bigger over time. How do you feel about the current situation regarding the trans issues in this country? Me personally, I think it's a distraction from economic issues.
I thought it is. Wait, before you answer that, because it is a distraction by the part, like they are using it as a distraction. But if you haven't heard what Michael Knowles said at the CPAC, I think that we're in a whole new world here. Did you hear it?
Yeah.
Did you hear it? Because
I don't know if he's going to want to have you back on his show.
I don't want to go back on his show. I can deal with conservative people.
I want to go on the show. I would love to chat with Michael Knowles about this.
I don't think he would. I don't think he's
not capable.
And I mean this in the best complimentary way possible. I'm not sure he's dumb enough to have you on, because he would wreck his work.
Yeah, no. And the thing is, you know what's interesting? Maybe when I was on his show, I did go on to talk about, it was a specific segment having to do with mask mandates and Joe Biden, whatever. So I'm sitting in the green room waiting to go on the show. And the segment before me is some sort of immigration thing. And I'm sitting in the green room doing my business, waiting for my turn. And I hear the term illegal aliens. And I look up and I'm like, huh. Yeah, it's interesting. I'm not part of that discussion. I wasn't invited on to talk about that with him.
Don't forget, the one thing that I think chops at his bit more than anything else is if you mention the fact that he is a failed actor, which
is he an actor?
He was.
I didn't even know. I didn't know
either.
For somebody who's in the heart of LA, and you don't even know that coming in and out, and it's like, yeah, you see this happen all the time. But in his case, he had like a couple of bit parts, and there's always this idea
he's hateful and horrible. Can you just you need to answer what you were going to say about it? I just had to get in. It's not just people like what's his name?
Matt Walsh.
Matt Walsh.
Well, I do have to say, Matt Walsh, I'm at my wits' ends with Matt Walsh. I'm always at my wits' ends with Matt Walsh, but just his rhetoric, and as you mentioned, the grift, the fact that he is totally profiting off of his anti-trans rhetoric. Yeah. First of all, that's a disgusting thing. We could talk about that the entire episode. Right. It is really, and then the Michael Knowles thing, it's so funny because, we saw the video, we saw him very blatantly say we need to, quote, eradicate transgenderism. And then he has the audacity, the nerve to put out another tweet calling out Rolling Stone saying that, oh, this is libelous. I never called for genocide. Well, you don't have to read between the lines to understand what eradicate transgenderism means. First of all, transgenderism is a pejorative term. It's not an ism. It's not an ideology. Trans people exist.
Right. It's like we're going to make them go away. Okay. Yeah.
Exactly. We've always existed. We're always going to exist. And, and then you've got folks like Matt Walsh saying, well, I really support this. We have to protect the kids. We have to protect the kids.
Oh, my God.
It is so infuriating and disgusting to me. First of all, I've been thinking about this a lot the past week because we've been seeing a particular surge in people talking about anti-queer legislation, particularly with the Tennessee anti-drag bill, which just, was passed, is going into law. And that, I think, paired with the Michael Knowles Eradicate Transgenderism video has really brought a lot of widespread attention to this. It bothers me that it took this particular bill when there have been over 450 anti-LGBTQIA bills moving through various state legislatures and even into the federal legislature over this year and even last year. And so, people are really upset. Drag performers are upset. For those of you watching me, so I'm a trans person and I'm a drag performer. My pronouns are she, her, they, them. I'm trans non-binary. I've also been performing in drag for almost, for about 8 years or so now. And when I started, I didn't realize how political this all was going to be. I didn't start drag to make a political statement, and nor do I think most people who do drag start doing that,
Oh, it's like theater. It's theater.
Exactly. It's theater. It's entertainment. But I will say there is something inherently social, political, and revolutionary about doing anything that is gender nonconforming, especially in the state of affairs that we are existing in right now. And we're seeing things getting worse and worse. The Tennessee bill passed, but a lot of people don't know there's 9 other states that have anti-drag bills. West Virginia, Texas, North Dakota, South Carolina. But on top of it, I think the real issue about this anti-drag bill is that it's actually anti-trans.
But what is that bill? Like, explain to me when you say an anti-drag bill. Like, what I have been seeing circulating a lot is everybody all angry about people in the UK bringing kids to drag shows and all this stuff, right? And maybe that's true. Maybe they don't like it. I don't necessarily think it's the most appropriate thing in the world. But that is a completely separate issue from what I'm sure this bill is.
Yes.
So
here's the thing. This is all about the way that the alt-right, I don't even want to call it the alt-right at this point. It's just the right.
It's the right. Yeah.
The way they've been portraying not only drag performances, but also trans people, they have been using children as scapegoats to basically to dehumanize, vilify, and as we now know, try to eradicate queer and trans people. This was never about children.
No.
This conversation, it started off the way that any sort of genocide starts, where it is you're trying to infiltrate the minds of people and say, this is about kids. This is about protecting kids. Well, here's the thing. If you really wanted to protect kids, you would be going after guns and the systemic abuses in churches.
Thanks for watching. If you want to support our mission to transform politics into service, please like this video, subscribe, follow us on social media, and consider joining our Patreon, where you'll get early access to our interviews as well as other exclusive content. Links are in the description. Peace out.